Welcome back to Coffee Talk. I have my coffee in this huge mug. It's actually a to-go mug, but I just don't have the cap on it. And it says, "Too blessed to be stressed," because, yeah. Anyway, I have my iced coffee. Feel free to grab your coffee and let's hang. So, today is episode 2. If you watched episode 1, thanks for sticking around to watch episode 2. I just love this idea. I think this is just so cute and so fun. We're just sitting down, drinking coffee, and having a chat. What could be better? The only difference is we're not at like a cafe or anything, which that would be cute. That would be cute. But unfortunately, we're just in my office room, in my home. Anyway, without further ado, let's just get chatting. So, I thought today's topic would be, I have my notebook down here in case you're wondering why I look down, to make sure I'm staying on topic, on track. Anyway, so I thought today's topic would be something that I feel like a lot of people might struggle with. I definitely did, and I'm trying to get better and better about it, but it's definitely one of those things where it's not going to be an overnight fix. It's going to take a minute, but once you put it in your head and constantly think about it, you're like, oh, okay. So I could change just a little tiny detail and make a huge difference. But so the topic is to start showing up as your higher self and just being the main character. This is your life. You can't be a background character in your own life. That'd be like watching a movie and all they focused on was the background characters. You'd be like, what the heck is going on here? So, but before we get into that, I want to share my happy something, or my something happy for this week. I advise you to pause this and just think about something that made you happy or just made you sit and think, and you're like, wow, I'm really glad that I was able to just sit and think about that, because it's very I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it makes you just sit and think about how much gratitude you have and just the things that you're thankful for, So my happy something, I say as I just got in a fight with my cat. Well, not physical fight. He's being not nice this morning, but my happy something is having a pet, like a cat, in my case. But just having a pet, I feel like having a pet just elevates everything. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine living here in my home with my boyfriend and not having my cat, if that makes sense. He just brings this extra energy and just makes everything feel like a home. You know what I mean? Not that I don't think this house would feel quite as homey and like a home if we didn't have him. So that's my happy something, just having a pet. If you can relate, totally feel free to leave me a comment down below and be like, yeah, I get what you're saying, I think the same thing. That'd be cool. Anyway, back to today's topic. So I guess I'll split it up. So the first one is start showing up as your higher self, or your ideal self. And I don't know if you know Tori Sterling or listen to her podcast Manifest with Tori, or Tori D. Simone. Anyway, she talks about this all the time, and the first time she explained it, I was like, yo. I was like, what? But once I listened more and more and she explained it deeper, I was like, that kind of makes sense. So what that means is think about your ideal self, your higher self, your best version of you. Would that version of you make this decision? Would that version of you do this or do that, or think about this or care about that, if that makes sense? So I guess one example would be staying up super late, even though you have to get up early in the morning, you've got all this stuff to do tomorrow, but you're just gonna stay up and like watch TikToks. Something like that. You would think about, would my higher self really be like staying up this late even though I have so much stuff to do tomorrow and I have to get up early and I know I'm gonna like not want to wake up now because I stayed up so late and it's gonna be just so awful, like that kind of a thing. And just making decisions as if you already are that higher version of yourself, or like your higher self. I try to to implement this like in my day-to-day, but it's definitely so hard, especially if you're like a routine person, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like you do the same stuff every day because it's comfortable, you know what it is, and it like you just know it, if that makes sense. That's kind of the person I am. Like I don't I don't like to step out of my comfort zone as much as I probably should. So, I totally just lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this? So trying to implement that in like your day to day, I like, not gonna lie, it's kind of difficult, but I feel like at the same time you have to be careful with it because you don't want to start over analyzing everything, because that's even worse. I literally overthink and overanalyze absolutely everything. So with something like this, you kind of have to do it like little by little and like build up to it, I feel like, or at least for me personally, because if I just went like full force into it, I would overthink and overanalyze every little detail about everything that I'm doing or not doing. So definitely like have to be careful of that. But I love this idea because it really does force you to, at least I think so anyway, implement things like self-care, or like taking care of yourself more and doing things like for yourself, because that's what your higher self would be doing, or your ideal self, if that makes sense. Because they wouldn't be like neglecting their self-care or not taking the time to do things for themselves. So that's definitely like a big pro to this kind of thing, at least I think anyway, because I mean self-care is so incredibly important in like doing things for yourself. Like it just eases your mind and like gives you so much clarity, like mentally. I feel like, why wouldn't I be doing something like that, you know? So that's kind of like the basics, or like for that, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the idea of being the main character like of your life, because your higher self wouldn't be a background character. They're gonna like be that main character, they're gonna be in the spotlight, unless your higher self isn't like into that. But you can't be the best version of yourself and be a background character in your life. Like that just doesn't make sense. So the idea of being the main character, meaning like you do all this self-care, you do all these things for yourself because you know it's going to make you happy and you know it's going to like bring fulfillment and satisfaction into your life. And not like being, I don't want to say like a follower, but not just doing what everybody else is doing because everybody else is doing it, and not looking like everybody else because everybody else looks like that. Like stuff like that, like views and opinions and beliefs and like fashion trends, like not being a copy and paste of somebody else. Because if you're a copy and paste of somebody else, you're gonna be like somebody else and you're just like a background character. You're just like extra number 4. You don't want to be extra number 4. You want to be main role. Because this life, it's for you, not for extra number 4. They're just an extra in this because they're the main character of their life. So, if that makes sense. I have done that so much of my life, and I'm so regretting it because I just went along with everything else that other people thought or did because everybody else thought or did that. And now I'm looking back on those times and I'm like, I could have done so much for myself, and just things could be so much different than they are, but because I was a background character and just did what everybody else was doing and thought what everybody else thought, I missed those opportunities. For example, my town does like I guess you could kind of call it like a trade school. Like your 11th grade, you get to go to this separate building, like this separate school, and learn like cosmetology or cooking, or like building trades, like all that sort of thing. And I got into the auto tech program because I find cars so interesting, especially old cars, and I've always wanted to learn how to like work on cars. I went for the very first day, and dropped it because I thought I was going to be a music ed major in college, and I could not miss a year of band because I would have had to miss my junior year of band, and I just could not do that, so I dropped it after the first day. And now, almost 3 years later, well, 3 years post-grad, I regret that so much because I had to do what everybody else thought would have been cool, or I had to do what everybody else would have been like, oh yeah, like that's such a good choice. And now, 3 years post-grad, so this would have been 4 years ago, I am like, or like 4.5, almost 5 years, I don't regret a whole lot of decisions that I make or that I have made in my life. And when I tell you, I single-handedly, full-heartedly regret that decision. I mean, I regret it so much. And I keep trying to tell, like, family that are in high school now, like, don't skip out on that. Like, if you can do it, like, so do it. And they're like, well, I don't know, like, I kind of want to do this because so-and-so is doing this. I'm like, no, do not. Oh my god, it's like, that would have been my main character moment, and because I mentally wasn't there yet, I wasn't at that, oh, my higher self would be doing that, so like I should totally do that. I was like, well, extra number 3 over there is doing this, so as extra number 4, I'm gonna do it too. Even just saying that out loud, can you tell like how ridiculous that sounds? It's just not, it doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't even make sense. But then I was like, oh, this is my main character choice. Like I wasn't thinking that, but I was like, this is the choice I need to make my life make sense. When I want to just explain. So I was so like, I'm gonna be a music ed major. Like I'm gonna go all 4 years. I'm gonna be in the music department. Like I'm gonna teach high school level like music. Like I'm gonna be that band teacher. Well, after the first semester of freshman year, I changed my major. I've changed my major like 3 other times since then. I only finished 2 years of school and then withdrew. I've just finished a gap year. I'm now on year number 2, still not having a clue what I want to do with my life. I'm not saying it's like a complete direct result of that one decision junior year, but I'm just saying I was so like sure that was my choice. Like that's a decision I had to make. Like that was going to make my life make sense. And here we are. Definitely wasn't the choice. I'll tell you that. So just to kind of recap, because I kind of went on a tangent. I feel like it's so necessary to show up as the main character of your life. Be that higher self that you like so want to be, but you're like, oh, I don't know, like I'm not in the right spot in my life. It doesn't matter. Like, your life isn't gonna be like cookie cutter, like, oh, like this is me today, this is me tomorrow. Like, it's never gonna like fully make sense, I feel like. I mean, some people it might. Mine definitely doesn't. But you can be your ideal self today, even if you're still in school, like grinding out those couple years that you have left so you can get this job that you really want. Like, even now, you can be showing up as that main character, as your ideal self, living. Like, I feel like this can be like so. What's the word I'm looking for? So like cliche, I guess, but I totally just lost it. Oh, okay. Here we are. This is gonna sound so cliche, but it's so accurate, like so true. And it's, most people are just in this world existing. Like, they're not living, they're just existing. And you don't want to just exist, because then you are that extra number 4. You're not the main character. You want to really live and like be that main character. And that's kind of what I've been trying to say for the past 15-20 minutes. It's, you don't want to just exist as that extra number 4, number 5, whatever. You want to be that main character. You want to live. And that's kind of what I'm working on. So I thought I would come chat, sip some coffee. Maybe inspire some of you to be like, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm going to start doing that. It doesn't even need to be huge either. It can be like small little steps, like, oh, today I'm gonna drink that coffee because I want it, not necessarily because I need to have it. More so, I want to have it because it makes me feel good. Like, that sort of thought process, that sort of mentality, that's what I'm talking about. So I hope you understood what I was trying to say. And I hope it inspired you, honestly, because I don't think I ever would have changed anything if somebody else hadn't like talked about it and explained it, and it kind of clicked in my head. So I'm hoping this will click in somebody else's head and inspire somebody else, because sometimes you just need that extra nudge, that extra little kick to be like, oh yeah, I need to do that. I need to start doing that, and I need to do it like now. So here's that extra little nudge. And I hope it really does inspire you, because it really does change like a lot of things, especially like just having a different perspective on things. It really like gives a lot of clarity. So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode of Coffee Talk, feel free to like and comment down below if you agreed with any of this, if any of this like inspired you, if it clicked in your head, all of that good stuff. And all of my socials are linked down below in the description, including my blog, which is finally live. It is public for access. You can go read what I've gotten on there. I've got some recipes, some home related things, some info about me, all that good stuff. And I will see you in my next episode of Coffee Talk next Wednesday. Bye, guys.